Hey, welcome to Planet Earth. History, dinosaurs, football. What else do you need? Mr. H here with you. How you doing, huh? It's actually Thursday night instead of Friday morning. It's just one of those days where I just managed to get everything done. It doesn't happen very often, so just have fun with it when it happens. So how you guys doing, huh? I hope you're having a great time. And we were talking about Russia and Ukraine today. Some people in class asking, Mr. H, how's Russia been doing in like 20th century wars? Sorry, 21st century wars, because the tide appears to be turning in Russia's favor over in Ukraine right now. Well, the problem is with Russia is that though they hadn't fought a war in a really long time, a big war, and they've had some experience with some little ones since then. Now, after the Soviet Union fell apart, it was just their old Russian army in Russia. They had a war down in Chechnya, which is down in the Caucasus, and they didn't do very well. They lost in 1994 to 1996. You can see the Russian helicopter captured there on the ground. We've got another captured Russian armored personnel carrier. They had low morale. The Soviet Union collapsed. Their economy was in the toilet. So it wasn't looking too good 30 years ago for Russia. It was almost like a second time of troubles. They seem to have recovered somewhat, though. But in 1994 to 1996, now they didn't do so well in the first Chechen War, and they actually lost. They had this face-saving agreement where they had autonomy and such. But yeah, Chechnya pretty much won that one. Well, you know what happens when you lose the first time? Yeah, you come around stronger the next time. And after some terrorist attacks on some apartment buildings in Moscow, they linked them to Chechen rebels. They went back on the attack in 1994, and they learned a few things. And the first thing they did was they just saturated everything with artillery. One strong suit in the Russian army historically has been strong artillery, and they just flattened everything before they went in. And here's another thing they did. It seems simple, but it works. Yeah, they got out of the armored personnel carriers, had the infantry actually go out there on the ground and go after people. The first time they wouldn't come out, and this time they came out. Casualties were lower, much more successful, and they made a deal with the Chechens in 2008. Again, it's kind of this autonomy type thing, but recognizing Russian rule, that sort of thing. They basically leave you alone. It's been working out because there are lots of Chechen units fighting alongside the Russians in the Ukraine. So I don't know. I guess it worked out for them. So we'll call that a victory. Right when that ended, Russia invaded Georgia. It happened because there's a place called South Ossetia down in Georgia that's allied to the Russians. They accused the Georgians of attacking them, so the Russians came in and well, they just flattened Georgia. Same thing, man. Heavy artillery all over the place. People climbing out of the armored personnel carriers. They didn't get really a lot of resistance. You can tell their biggest problem was out on the roads. Roads in the Caucasus aren't exactly the best. Perfect places for ambushes and no ambushes. Yeah, so, the Georgian military wasn't really into this war, and the Russians just kind of steamrolled over everybody. I remember this one really well because August the 9th, 2008, when the war started, and I just happened to watch on CNN live as Russian tanks went through the Rocky Tunnel into Georgia. I got to see the whole thing happen as it was unfolding. It's 21st century has its high points, that's for sure. 2 Steelers Super Bowl victories, three Penguin Stanley Cup victories. Yeah, I'm kind of liking this 21st century thing. Now, they could have actually conquered Georgia if they wanted to. They got down to Shaskamili over here. This is all South Georgia, their supposed allies, and as became another separatist group here that was allied to the Russians. And it wasn't too far from Tbilisi, but of course they weren't interested in conquering Georgia. So they just sort of made sure Georgia wasn't going to join NATO and also make sure South Ossetia remained kind of under Russian influence. So I guess you call that a win for the Russians too. See how they're learning? They lost in 94, 96 to Chechnya. They've beaten Chechnya. They just smashed Georgia down into the ground. These are not very big opponents, but you got to start somewhere. Then that leads us to the takeover of Crimea in 2014. I don't know if you remember that one pretty well, but everyone got hysterical over this because it wasn't just an all-out Russian invasion where they just blast away at everybody. It was their usual MO. They used stealth and subtlety in this one. They had the little green men showed up. These guys weren't really sure they're Russian or not. Of course they are. They're speaking Russian uniforms. They just showed up and declared Crimea to be theirs. At this point, you had a revolution in Ukraine where the pro-Russian guy was overthrown, pro-Western guy. They're talking about joining NATO. It's a big no-no because it puts them on the Russian border. So they figured if nothing else, to grab Crimea, and the Black Sea Fleet will be, in Russian hands. And they have Crimea to this day, started all the sanctions. That's why U.S.-Russian relations have been pretty bad since 2014. But the Russians do what the Russians do. They never apologize for it, and they threw them out of the G8. Now it's the G7, but you know how the Russians are. They really don't care about that sort of stuff. So in 2014, they used subtlety, guile, and audacity, and it pulled it off with, I think, only one person getting killed, a Ukrainian policeman, I believe. 2022 didn't work out so well, man. They tried to hit with a 3-day war plan, and it didn't work out so great. War is still going on. They've grabbed a nice chunk of Ukraine. Ukraine launched with a lot of support from Western, allies, money and weaponry, pushed the Russians back a little bit, but they seem to have run out of gas, literally on a few occasions. And this map is a little bit old because the stuff about the Ukrainian counterattack, yeah, that's past history. The Russians are taking this stuff back, and they are advancing slowly but surely, but they are advancing. So I'm not sure how this thing is going to turn out or when it's going to end, but this could go on a while as a stalemate. Has a First World War look about it, but at the end of the day, I think the Russians are going to kind of hang on to this stuff. Maybe they grab a little bit more. We'll just have to kind of see what happens over there, hence the question mark. Welcome to the era of great power war. It's back again. Today is the 14th day of June. Yes, happy birthday, U.S. Army. Everybody loves that. But no, it's National Megalodon Day. Yeah, the greatest shark of all time. Oh, look at this thing. It's huge. Basically, think of a great white shark and multiply by about 3. It's the biggest aquatic predator of all time. Dominated the Cenozoic oceans 23 million years ago to about 2.5 million years ago. See, that shows you how big it is. Could fit everybody inside the jaws. Megalo, big. Don, tooth, big teeth. Not exactly, the most original name, but it seems to fit. Those are some very big teeth. I've actually found some of these on my own fossil hunting. Yeah, down in Florida, found a couple in North Carolina. Now, the big difference between, say, Megalodon and today's shark is basically the size. However, looking at the teeth and extrapolating at what a Megalodon must have looked like, it bears a striking resemblance to today's great white shark. So look at the teeth. Look very similar, don't they? Just bigger. The reason the Megalodon one is black because older, at least 2.5 million years old. I believe, and I will fight anybody on this, is that the Megalodon didn't become extinct 2.5 million years ago. I think it downsized into today's great white. Yeah, it's called a chronospecies. It's the same animal adopted for different conditions. Some paleontologists will fight me on it, and I'll welcome the battle. I think I'm actually right on this in my usual self-righteous manner. Of course, I didn't learn paleontology in a big fancy universe like you. I learned it off the streets. Now, if you want to fight over history, yeah, I can go toe-to-toe with anybody. But paleontology, I might be an amateur, but I'm a gifted amateur. Look at that great white shark and what a Megalodon more than likely look like. I mean, it's a shark. What's it supposed to look like, right? Yeah, very similar looking, don't you think? Same habitats, kind of coastal, warmish areas, though great whites go into cold areas too without much of a problem. Could be anywhere, but they like the coast. You see them in deep sea areas too. I don't know. I really do think Megalodon shrank down to a great white shark. So celebrate Megalodon Day. Go out there and have some seafood, right? Wear a paper shark hat. Honor the greatest aquatic predator of all time, or else, right? But remember, as you're eating that seafood, it's just like you're eating alongside Megalodon. The big difference is, of course, it's not going to hang around to pay for the bill. You're stuck with the bill. UFL Championship on 16 June. What's so great about the 16th day of June? It's Mr. H's birthday. Yeah, they're playing just for me. Actually, no, they're not playing for me, but it just happens to be when they're playing the game. I think it's a fantastic birthday present there for me. So the UFL Championship takes place in St. Louis. Notice the arc over here, right there in the dome at America Center. That's from the old XFL days, 2 years ago. Going to be a big crowd. Now, granted, the Battlehawks aren't playing in this one, but I still think it's going to be a big crowd. I think people are really into the UFL in St. Louis because UFL loves St. Louis and St. Louis loves the UFL. So regardless of who's playing, I think the crowds are going to be out there. Whole lower bowl is filled. Look at that. Got people in the upper deck too. Who's playing? Two-time defending USFL champion Birmingham Stallions against the San Antonio Brahmas. The last team that beat Birmingham was San Antonio. Did it this year over in San Antonio. So San Antonio is hoping to sweep Birmingham. Birmingham has won 2 in a row. They're looking for number 3. Could this be the first spring football dynasty? Not sure what uniforms they're wearing now. Mr. H likes to talk about uniforms, but this is what's on the website. So I'm guessing San Antonio wearing yellow and Birmingham wearing the home reds. St. Louis should probably be, San Antonio should probably be the home team because they're third straight week in St. Louis. Yeah, last game of the year they played against the Battlehawks and lost. The playoff game following week in St. Louis, they won. Championship games in St. Louis. Yeah, dude, San Antonio is the home team on this one. But some people will point out that they wore the road yellows when they played Birmingham and San Antonio, forcing Birmingham to wear the home reds. So maybe they're trying to pull some kind of superstition. I don't know. I'm not sure how the game's going to go. I guess the smart money's on Birmingham, but I really want San Antonio to win. I have nothing against Birmingham. I just want to see somebody new win a championship. You guys have yourself a fantastic day. I'm going to have a great birthday. Have a piece of cake for Mr. H. And, or if you can't find cake, oatmeal raisin cookies work out fantastic. If anything you want to say, correct my many, many mistakes down in the comments, go right ahead. You guys have a fantastic day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Das vidanya.